Hello, everyone. Welcome. Good morning, good evening, good night, depending on where you're from. I just want to make sure everyone can hear me before we get started here. All right. Well, I'm assuming that you guys you guys can hear me, so I'll get moving forward. Welcome to the first episode of Allison Chill Let's Play. For those of you who don't know me, I am your host. I'm Tassel in game on My Neighbor Alice, and I am the new community manager taking over for Kaito. He was the last one that did Alice and Chill. He was amazing, but I guess it's my turn. This is going to be a very relaxed session where we just get together and hang out, chat. I'm going to go over maybe some in-game mechanics, some tips and tricks I've learned in my time, and and I've also got two very special guests that will be joining me in just a moment here. The first guest is the guests are Stefania, who is the business lead, so all things business related at My Neighbor Alice. And the other guest is Lorraine, and she is the narrative lead. So she colors the My Neighbor Alice universe. So anything story related or dealing with character personalities or anything like that, I'm sure they can explain it better. So without further ado, let's get them in here. So it's my first stream, and I'd like to have someone to talk to here. Let's see. I think that's good. All right, guys, can you see me?
Yeah,
Hello.
bringing my Italian vibes to
Hello.
the Alice and Chill again.
Great. No, it's great having you guys, and thanks so much for joining me. It's really helpful having the team to support me, and I'm super excited to be here. A little nervous, but more excited than anything else to be here. So I gave a kind of a brief, well, your titles, what you guys do. Can you guys maybe give a little bit more information on what it means to be the business lead or narrative, what that means within My Neighbor Alice?
Yeah, very quickly, for those who might be new here, let me briefly introduce myself. I lead everything partnership related, including integration with partners and projects. And essentially, I help many Boralis connect, collaborate, and grow as a project. I leave the
Excellent.
floor to Lauren.
Yeah, on my side, actually, I like the way that you described my role. So I will just add to that a huge part of what I do is to feel the big puzzle that is Lumelunda when it comes to the story pieces and see how everything can become more coherent through the gameplay mechanics or the art or sometimes the sound. So that's a bit what I do. Yes.
And that makes sense. Yeah, it's such a beautiful game too. So it's so much to look at. So I'm really happy to have you guys on here to help me to go through this with me. So I was going to give a little bit more history on me. I am, as I said, I'm the community manager. So I am here for the community. I am your guys' voice. So any concerns or comments or anything that you guys want to make sure that the team knows, I'm here to make sure that it's known, good, bad, or indifference. So I have been a gamer my entire life. I got my first NES in the late 80s, so I've been playing for the better part of 4 decades now. And to say that it's who I am might be a little of an understatement. My wife's a gamer, and she plays on My Neighbor Alice with me. My kids are gamers. Anytime you see any design that I've created in the game, part of their personality is pouring through right into whatever you're seeing, because it translates directly from what I create. It's kind of what I love about My Neighbor Alice too, is you can put your how you relate and what you do in the game kind of directly translates in with your creations and how you play. So I'm going to keep this one, like I said, kind of a relaxing deal. I want to jump on the game and for us to be able to play together. So yeah, let's do that. I'm going to get on here and let me share the stream.
By the way, Tassel, while you share the screen, I don't think that I have properly welcomed you to the team. because
Oh,
I got caught up like in many things. It's so easy to forget about the important ones. But I want to like welcome to the team. And I wanted to tell you that we are very, very excited to have you in the team. And it's a badge of honor, literally, for us for many reasons. The
really?
first reason is that literally during these 4 years we have been focusing on building a core community of players who are in love with our core gameplay, and they are not just there for the rewards. That's why during those 4 years, for example, we never run a massive rewards campaigns. And also, when we think about My Neighbor Alice, we really the mission of My Neighbor Alice is to build a fully decentralized, community-driven, and accessible to everyone game. And I think that we don't have many community-driven features because we have been focusing on polishing the main game features, and we have been focusing on the onboarding. I think this is public at this point, but I think that having you on board, it really marks like the first step towards that path. So the path of having a community-driven game. So welcome to the team. I'm very excited to have you here and to have you as the host of Alice and Chill.
Oh, I'm real excited to be here too. Thank you so much. Yeah, no, it's been a great experience for me. I've been playing My Neighbor Alice for the last couple of years, and to see it go from the kind of the remedial gameplay and building on. I don't think people realize just how much love and attention and how much has gone into the game. There's so many things that you can do, and while there's so much room to build and to grow, so much has happened since I started playing, so it's real exciting for me to see these incremental steps, and I'm super excited to be here. Let's see if I can add this to scene. All right, so we're in game here, and the two topics that I thought we could talk about this time are the ones that seem to be the most confusing for newer players are fishing and the camera tool. Actually, the camera tool, not even a lot of people know about. There's So that's another thing. So I have 8 of my own plots that I've collected over the years, and but I'd really be interested in going to somebody else's plot since I'm kind of used to mine. So if anybody in game would share a plot, we can head over there, and I can kind of explain some of the mechanics.
Before we get on the plot, it's already super nice to see that some of you have crafted the new content that we released in the patch lately, with all the racing items. Like it's very nice to see.
I know, isn't it? Yeah, it's great. Yeah, that's right. We have the From Land to Track competition going on right now. So if you guys haven't joined in on that, there's still time, and giving away Alice, and there's lots of really cool new items. Definitely should be something. I'll wait a few more minutes here to see if anyone wants to share one of their plots, and if not, I'll use one of mine. That's fine too.
They are shy today.
What do you guys find that's like probably a bigger topic here, but is one of the most challenging things to creating in the Web3 space, like creating a video game that's all connected with blockchain?
Very, very complex to build a game fully on chain. By the way, I'm very curious to hear about your gaming background. I know that Lorena, she's a gamer as well, and I'm really curious, like how you got into My Neighbor Alice.
Yeah, so I got into My Neighbor Alice during even before so it was the first land sale. There was the lottery, and I staked some of my Alice trying to win a plot. I actually did not win a plot. But I still like the idea enough that because of the kind of the ties to the Animal Crossing, Minecraft, that just I really like the idea of what you guys were trying to build or what we're trying to build. So I thought to myself, well, I'm going to go ahead and just get a plot anyway, just to start off. So But I started video games. Like I said, it's been part of who I am since I was young. All right. Well, no one's putting up a plot, so I'll go ahead and just post one of mine that people can join on. This is
Uh,
my first plot I ever had, so this one kind of is near and dear to me. So,
just based on what you say, I'm actually curious, like how you ended up in Web3, because I think something that, like, I mean, Stefania just mentioned, I'm also a gamer, and some of the things that like I've noticed among the gaming community is that there is generally a rejection of Web3. And so I'm always curious to hear about like gamers' perspective, like how they got into Web3, what they find into Web3, because it's a cool space to be in and it can bring a lot to gaming. So I'm curious about that.
yeah, no. I got into just cryptocurrencies in general in 2016, and so I was always looking at different projects. But I've been a gamer for much longer, obviously, than I've been into cryptocurrencies. So I started off just kind of looking to see what would what makes sense. And for me, it kind of just automatically made sense that the technology could be used to in the cryptocurrency world, like to be able to own your assets. And people think that they own their assets if they play a game like World of Warcraft or any of these kind of things, but really it's stored on their servers. And I mean, they can be shut off for anytime. But this is such a different way of connecting. So when I saw that, lots of different Web3 games out there, but this is the one that really kind of resonated with me because I was a Nintendo fan, and the ties to Animal Crossing kind of really intrigued me. So that's kind of what got me initially interested in the project to start with. How about you? How did you get involved in the space?
A bit by
You wanna go
accident.
first?
No, I mean, I guess it's like I mean, I was like basically the studio that like I was in got acquired by the blockchain company, and so we were having like they were having this project on making a game fully on chain because they could see like the potential of that and so on. So we started working on it. So I think that like before that, I didn't know much about crypto, and I just thought, okay, let's try to see how as let's see it as a tool and let's see what this can bring without
Hmm.
trying to judge it really, because I think that like I was starting to hear like conversations from lots of my gamer friends actually on like what are you doing in that space and so on. And I think that for me there was this idea of like I think it's nice to explore that also because on some like I mean I'll always play traditional games, but
Of course.
I also felt that there was something in the industry that would always make games not innovate on some aspect. And so I was curious to see like how would that bring to the gaming space. Like maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work. I mean, of course it will work with my Nebralis, but it's just in general the idea of like let's just take it as an experiment that drew me in. Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
say. And I'm
Well,
also a
that's
Nintendo fan, so I really like the whole Animal Crossing vibe was real definitely speaking to me. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
kind of the same for me. Actually, gaming was my way into Web3. I didn't know much about blockchain 2 years ago when I joined Alice. I remember that I had a chat back in the days with the business director at the time. And it was like, okay, we are building this cool game. Imagine an open world Animal Crossing, and I was wow, we are building Animal Crossing open world, and I used to play Animal Crossing a lot when I was a kid, and I didn't like the fact that it was not open world. But then he told me, listen, but we are building all of these on chain. And then he kind of explained to me what it means to be on chain, and basically what this technology was offering a solution to all the problems that I used to have as a kid. Basically, I started playing video games when I was, I think, 5 or 6 years old, and I was spending countless and countless hours on a forum just to trade my items because I realized early on that people that were rich, I mean, that they were willing like, to invest money to just progress faster in a game. But the problem was that I was investing time in forum, or I was just using the in-game chat, but you were actually risking to get banned. And I was always trying to find solution. For example, one solution that I found back in the day was eBay with a buy instantly feature. But main issue was that it was not working very well, and most of the times when I was just selling my items, in-game items, for real money, I was just relying on trust, right? And many times like I was getting scammed by those people.
Yeah.
And then basically the business director back in the days, he just told me, listen, there is this trustless way of trading items right now, and you can just monetize as you want your time. That for me it was like the most like important part as a kid. I mean, I was investing like hours and hours, and then I could monetize, and it was just feeling great.
No, okay. Yeah, that's great. So I guess what I will do is I will show some of the mechanics of the thing. I think that one of the things that people often don't realize about My Neighbor Alice is that you can turn off the HUD heads-up display and use a camera function. So if you push F6 when you're in the game, it brings you into the camera function, like you can see I am now. So now I can use the WASD to move forward and backwards and pan around, or Q and E to go up or down. And you can really do a lot with this tool. So this is just how you move around in here, but you can also push V to bring up your camera tools, and you can deselect lots of different functions within here. You can turn them all off if you just click on the UI system, and it'll get rid of everything. But you can also turn them off individually, like if you want to get rid of just the chat or the map. I find that I usually turn everything off because I'm trying to get like a really pretty screenshot or a really close-up picture of my character. So for instance, if I turn it all off here, hit escape, and then F6, and then F6 again to go back in. Now I can kind of get up really close behind my character, get in really nice and close if I want to. And this actually works for even going underneath the ground. You can go up underneath and see your world from a completely underneath it, which is really, really cool because you can go into buildings and put yourself behind things. Or there's the exploration factor too. You can just leave your character where it's at and just take off and go see what else someone else has built, like this cool thing in the distance. Oh, I probably think it's cool because I created this too. But this is one I made last season. It's my the floor is lava level. I can already tell because it takes up 2 plots. Jark was nice enough to loan me these lands when I didn't have very many, and I created this giant thing. I mean, look at the shots you can take from this. I think it's really, really cool.
It's almost like you're panning over like a drone on this. But I mean, definitely is a useful feature for like beautiful plots like this. Like the one I'm on, I'm like, wow, it took so much care to do all of what you did. So I definitely want to just screenshot everything from every angle. And it also helps with character development, I feel, because if every avatar and player has their own like story around their character, they can definitely like put them into the different environments. It's very useful for that, I feel. Or like it makes you play the game in another way as well. I feel.
Definitely. Yeah, it's added a lot of nuance for me too, because a lot of times I don't know exactly, like you say, it takes a long time to create these, a lot of effort and a lot of planning. I mean, to do it right, I mean, I put them together pretty quick. But if I really want to spend time like this one where it's 2 plots, they have to join up right, and everything has to be, just so. I'm a little particular, but and it allows me to to zoom out and be like, oh, that doesn't really work for what I wanted it to do, or yeah, that looks great from a top view. And so this is just a whole other function. And my character is still at my other plot. So even though I'm out and exploring and looking around, as soon as I hit F6, I'm back to where my character is. So it's kind of nice because, like you say, it should be called drone mode because you really can just zoom around and go pretty far away. And as you can see, none of those things are back. I haven't turned back my HUD back on yet. So to do that, to get that back, you have to hit F6 again, hit V to bring up the options, and then you can either select just the ones that you want to turn on, or you can click it twice and get them all back. And then when you hit escape, it just brings you back into the game. Sorry, F6.
It's crazy that we almost risked to not release this feature because at the beginning, like you see that it looks like a dev tool. Because at the beginning we just built it for marketing purposes. So we wanted to record the content in game for social media, but then we were like, okay, why not releasing it? And
Yeah, no, I think it's such a good, such a nice tool to have. I'd be lost without this tool. Honestly, I use it almost every single time I'm playing. It's just such an important feature to have.
But I think it also allowed like a certain like another approach to how you build your plot because I think that after that we started to see more of this like top down or intricate design that people were doing and that you can enjoy mostly because you're actually taking like an upper view on that. So it's interestingly also transformed to some aspect how people were experiencing the landscaping as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it does. It changes the way you play the game because in order to know when you're in landscaping mode, which I'll just for a second, when you're in landscaping mode, this is you still get a really nice wide view of what you're doing if you scroll in or scroll out, but you still are limited by how far you can scroll out. You can't see your whole plot, so you can only work on sections at a time. Whereas when you're in the camera tool, you can go as far out as you want. I mean, to the point where like just completely out. I mean, you can obviously there's my little Zelda montage that I did when when I started, but I mean, this is a completely different view of the land. Doesn't even look the same at this level.
But I totally agree with Loren. After releasing this tool, we started seeing things that were insane. For example, I remember that I saw on one plot Chichen Itza, one of the wonders of the world. And it's just something that you don't build if you don't have a tool like the camera tool to just appreciate how good it looks to have something so big and so nice on your plot.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, I mean, if you can't really get a perspective on what you're building and you can only see a section of it, it kind of limits what you can do in your creativity, in my opinion.
So I have a question for you, Tassel.
Sure.
Since we're talking about the photography mode, is photography a hobby that you also have in your daily life, or do you get it into like do you also do this outside of gaming?
I am a very light photographer. I would not say in any way I do it as a profession, but I do it as fun. I've taken some pictures of myself. There was a disco ball that we offer in the game, and I remember one time I was in the store and I saw the one that reminded me exactly of it, and I said it to my wife. I was like, "Please hand me that. I have to take a picture and put it on Discord to share." So I'd say light photography.
Right.
Cool. Do
No,
you have a
because
camera or you just use the built-in camera on the phone?
I'm
Do you
sorry.
actually, do you actually have a camera like a Sony or a
Uh,
Fuji?
My wife's the only one that has a really nice camera. She's the photographer in the household. She takes beautiful shots. I use my phone for most things because it's just more convenient. I'm the kind of photographer where I need to have the camera on me at all times because I never know when I'm going to need to take a shot. Whereas she's more planned out than I am.
I think that like photography on camera, yeah, on phone, sorry, is like still very good in the sense that like if you really focus just like I mean in the end it also depends I guess on like how you see photography, but if the idea behind is more to like work with like you can do a lot I mean with just working with the composition and there are actually quite some like what you can do with the camera on the phone nowadays is actually quite impressive just on like selecting the ISO or things like that as well. So I
Yeah,
mean
you can change a whole bunch of things on there. Your white balance, aperture, like you can really like mess around with. It's kind of crazy actually what phones can do now in terms of like your photography and having it. But for me, it's about convenience. If I have it on me, I'm more likely to take a shot. Whereas if with having like a professional camera, you actually kind of have to know that you're going out to take pictures. At least that's my opinion.
yeah, I think that yeah, the intention is different because if yeah you have the camera, it's because you maybe have maybe something in mind, or you're like maybe traveling. So yeah, because it's not convenient to carry for sure. Yeah.
Definitely.
Do you know that one time I took a photography course and the first question that the teacher asked us was, why are you here? Why do you want to learn to use a camera? Because it doesn't make sense nowadays if you think about it. We all have the picture in a vertical format, and it's just more convenient to use the phone. And his thesis was that the only reason to learn how to use a camera is because you want to print your pictures. Because at that point, if you want to print pictures and you want to have a quality that is high enough to make like, the requirements of a printer, then you need to use your camera.
Yeah.
And he was like, if you don't want to print your pictures, please go ahead and use your phone. Don't spend time here in this course. And I was like, well,
That's
Yeah,
a
that
very extreme take almost, because I would say that like if you practice it as like a hobby, you want to have like a like I mean, I guess you still want to have it as like a tool that you learn exactly how manually light is being printed into the picture, because when you think about the phone, you don't really understand what is the process of like taking a picture. It just happens so naturally and so instantly. When you go through the camera, whether it is like, well, digitally, I guess, and analog, it's also like two different schools, but you get to understand the process of like shaping your pictures with light, really. So I feel that this is also like I mean, I guess where the teacher she's coming from, but I can also see like, oh, this is a bit of an extreme approach to that. I'd say, yeah.
I think if the settings will be important in the future, or if everything will be AI powered, then at that point, the only thing that will matter will be just the ability of the photographer to just set the shot properly. Because I think
for
every,
me, I think it's two different philosophies behind why people take, photography. If you want to take photography because you really want to understand, how the light, translates and how a picture is taken, I think it makes sense. But if you're just the person just enjoy taking lots of pictures, you don't really need to know that. It's like not knowing how an internal combustion engine works, but you still know how to drive a car.
Mm,
Just my thoughts.
true. No, no, that's true. That's actually true.
All right.
Yeah.
So the other thing I wanted to talk about a little bit that I find that most people get confused about within my neighbor Alice is the fishing. That's the one thing I hear about more in game than anything else. And it's actually pretty simple, but I can understand that it's changed a little bit since the original version too. So I wanted to go over that. So in order to fish, you have to complete a couple of intro, beginner quests. But after you have the intro quest done, all you really need is a fishing pole and some bait. If you push R, it'll bring up your menu here where you have different things. And as you can see here on the my pole, I have in the upper right hand corner of the fishing pole it says Roman numeral 4. That stands for there being that being a tier 4 fishing pole, which is the highest tier fishing pole at the moment. So it can catch all fish right now. So when you click on that, left click on it, your cursor will come up on the ground, a little green cursor, and that indicates where you can cast your line. So if I left click now, it'll cast the line right at that point. Now we're waiting for a little icon to pop up, at which point, if you just left click, it'll start reeling in. Left click. Now you have to keep the fish in the safe zone by moving the mouse back and forth to keep it in that light blue area. And you tap AD over and over to until the progress bar gets all the way full. At which point you catch the fish. It's pretty simple, but I can see how if you've never done it before, it can be a little confusing. And there's also the different pools of fish that you can fish from. So I see that this one that I'm mousing over right now is the Regal bass, and it'll have requirements to catch them. So if you go to the journal, oops, um, I thought that there was a quick button, but right now that doesn't look like there is. But if you go to the little book here, it brings up the fishing log, and it'll tell you all the individual requirements for catching these fish. So if you want to catch the Regal bass, you have to be in the region Medieval Plains, and it's in freshwater, brackish, or salt. And here are its preferred bait types. Um, So yeah, so that's just a little quick overview of how the fishing log works and how to fish in there. So for instance,
I'm gonna try my luck on that shoal to get the regal bass.
great. And if you have your fishing pole out like I have, and you right click, you can change which bait you have. So there's you can have appetizing, out of this world, extraordinary, delicious, or scrumptious fish bait. And so if you pick one that's not part of that, like if I pick the extraordinary fish bait, this green one, I don't think that the regal bass like those, just from memory. And I cast in here, I might not catch a regal bass just simply because I'm using the wrong bait. So when a cursor comes up, I'll left click.
Wow, Tasso, you are base rich. Look at you.
Sorry.
No, you have so many bases.
And I got a Luna tuna. See, I didn't have the right bait. Didn't have the right bait. They didn't like it, so I caught a fish that wasn't a regal bass, even though I was fishing in a regal bass pool, fish pool. So
I
just a
got
few.
one. So now we'll be able to exchange it for a tie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and you can the fish can be used for different dyes in the game. There's lots of really cool stuff that you can actually use it for. So yeah, let's catch a few more fish. I kind of find it relaxing. I think I'll change the bait though. I actually want the one that it shows.
All the noises that you make with your keyboard.
Let's see here.
This is a good moment for this feature to have a mechanical keyboard. So it's really like click, 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 click. You can
Oh
hear
yes,
it
you can tell I
very much.
definitely have a mechanical keyboard by the clickiness.
One thing that I really love is also that you can catch some fishes only in some regions. I think these will be super good in the future when we will have a bigger in-game economy. I already see people being the OGs of some fishes in some regions.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, and right now there are certain fish that you can only catch in certain regions, but yeah, it'll be really interesting as the game develops and it opens up a little bit more to see how that actually affects the economy as well. Because if you can only catch certain things in certain places and you only have a land in that place, I can see how that would really kind of get people to trade with each other and open up the economy in new ways as well.
I guess that one will be the long-term goal to basically see people to rely on each other to just get the resources that they need to craft some specific items, and that will be good. Also because it also push people to trade more, but also to collaborate with each other. While right now you kind of have access to all the resources.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's beta, right? This is it's in development. That's why it's in beta season. So there's a lot of really cool things that are that are coming, and it forces, like you said, collaboration, and but in a good way, where that's a community driven thing. When people have to play together and trade resources, it builds friendships and opens up new dynamics within how people communicate, and it's just I can only see that being as a positive thing.
I have a curiosity. Do you think that like in the future it will be fun to introduce some limitations on transportation, meaning that you cannot just go from one region to another as you like, but you actually need to pay, for example, a train ticket. For example, you need to use the train that you now see in the town hubs. How do you see that? Would
Well,
that
I
sound?
think that me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think that transportation. Yeah, I think it's important to. I feel like it'll make the world feel more like a world if you have to travel, and if not so connected in that way. To be honest, I think that that would be a positive thing as well. If people have to, travel and to it makes it feel like the plot that you own is really yours. You're on that plot of land, and if you have to travel into town to in order to go somewhere, or however that dynamic works, I feel like that would make it feel more. That's one of the things I liked, to relate to another game about World of Warcraft, that it takes time to travel from one location to another, and the world is kind of feels more open, like more large, just because you have to travel from one place to another.
Yeah. I agree with you. This is also how you truly enjoy the open world aspect of the game because you're kind of forced to travel to one place to another, and you also see other players' creations. You also connect with other players, so that's kind of nice.
When I
Yeah,
was
exactly.
playing World of Warcraft, I used to do that actually, like take all kind of like mean of transport just to look at the world, and it was part of the relaxation of just being in the game and seeing all the different regions. So I agree with you on the makes you like, yeah, feel like a world that you physically can cross. Mm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I used to just travel just so that I could see the different part. That's another thing is it encourages exploration. Like if you can just travel anywhere just instantly, it makes it feel really kind of confined in a way. Whereas if I have to run from one location to the next, I feel like I'm traversing a real world. If
I am now following the little spirit over there.
you catch them, let me know.
It will disappear before I can. Oof.
Caso, how
Yes,
is it going with the racetrack competition? Did you
Sorry.
check? How is it going with the racetrack competition? Did you already check some lands? Are
Oh
you?
yeah, I've been checking out people's creations. They're absolutely amazing. It's funny how many different inspirations I pull from everyone else. Whether in the past I had a lot from Super Soju and Nathes and Kuma. Like there's so many amazing players that have such interesting ideas, and there's a lot of newer players actually coming in that have their courses are pretty amazing. Not to call out too many, but like Mario for sure is really interesting. I really like his. He's got a this where a rule where you can't jump, and he's created his entire land based on the fact that you can't jump. So he's made these intricate pathways that force you to see like the different to go through these tracks, and it doesn't feel confined. I've noticed that a lot of people when they create these things, sometimes they build up their walls really tall. I'm even guilty of it, and it kind of feels confined. He's managed to keep it nice and open, and it's really cool what people are creating for. I can't wait to see how the competition pans out.
nice. I'm also super excited to see that. I yet
Do
to
you
have to craft the A modes though to be able to participate in the racing competition, but I will in time.
Here's a new one for you.
This one I love it. Like also now there's been like some addition of like a voice to the avatar, which is quite nice, I think, to see. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Mm.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like I'm honestly I'm always blown away by people's creations. There's just so much variety to it never gets stale. There's everyone has a different idea, and you can see their personalities really shine through when they make their creations. They've they're one of them can't jump, or one of them's nothing but jumping, um, and and at each time a new iteration of the game comes out, so many new features and new ways to express yourself are also come out, and I feel like that's a really important thing for me. Like I always, for me personally, I always like to have my kids help me with my designs, and like with the color options or how I build something up, and so that's part of my personality kind of shining through on my plots, whereas somebody else might have a completely different way that they go about creating theirs. So it's a really interesting way of expressing yourself.
Mm. And speaking of expressing yourself, do you feel that like you have like your avatar is a character? Like, did you give it a story, or How does it like? How do you approach that? I'm curious.
Yeah, Tassel is actually a cut from a book I read when I was a kid, and I
Mhm.
loved the character, so I kind of always stuck with it as my character name as I've went through, in different games and over the years, and so it's kind of a little bit near and dear to my heart, the character itself. So I kind of just keep bringing him back to make sure that it's something that I got. It's actually a character from a Dragonlance book, if anyone's interested.
Cool.
What about your name? Do you guys, your name mean anything specific to you?
Uh, it's not like anything, like it doesn't mean anything. I think I know that I spent quite some time looking for that name because I think I was creating a character for a game. And then I just like kept it because I felt, well, at least in French, I think it's easier to pronounce. But I mean, specifically this character in Alice, I feel is a bit of an extension of how I would like it's a very explorer character, and I feel this is a bit of an extension of how I like to experience the world. So like I feel that this is this kind of story attached to that character. But yeah, the name in itself is not is really my gamer tag as I would use it for any kind of game. Yeah.
Well, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm always curious on how people pick their names. To be honest, like my wife's name is the Cupcake. She's in here with us playing around, and she picked her name because she couldn't fit her the one that she used, which was Mutant Cupcake. So so that's how she picked hers. So I'm always kind of curious on why. Because honestly, you name your character something that's usually a reflection of either something that's interesting to you or something you're referencing something else.
Mm. Oh, Stefania, I think you're mute.
No, my story is a little bit funny because my nickname now in my neighbor Alice is Stefania, but the nickname that I usually use is Do You Ringo? And it used to be an ad of a biscuit of biscuits in Italy, and the slogan was "Do you Ringo?" And I liked it as a kid, and since then I started using "Do you Ringo" as a nickname in games. So what a weird story.
That's amazing. Well, I guess we can head back to town if you guys want to. I think that would be a kind of a good place to wrap up chatting with people. One of the if we head back to town here, Lumenstead. This must have taken forever to create it. I find that this beginning place here, this the main town, is just so beautiful, and it's really got different aspects of so many different of places within the game too. Like all the lands, like this beautiful orange and yellow is obviously looking like Rusty Pikes, and it's just very reminiscent. And I'm always finding like these little doors everywhere, and I, you're gonna have to tell me what that means eventually because they're so cool. I notice them on everything.
What well, first, it's super nice that you're noticing it because these are definitely details that are intentionally put. And I would actually like to hear if you have a theory about that.
I mean, I see they're almost the same size as those spirits. I'm kind of wondering if they're like hitching a ride or what's going on. If they have their own little secret society here, I don't know. It's just but I see them everywhere. I've even found them on some of my crafting tools or my the ollie buildings. They're everywhere. So I know that they're there for a reason. And like the little things flying through the air, the little whatever those things are. They're just so
Okay.
pretty. I just love all of the aspects, like all of the different like sceneries in the game.
I think that like when you see all of this beautiful art asset and so on, I mean, it is what you just said is exactly like what we're trying to convey with the game. With like the environmental storytelling, it's like like what kind of question do you ask yourself about the world, and what kind of like theory do you come up with? So it's exactly the intention for that. So I like how you're reading this. Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm glad because that's I'm also the kind of character that loves to kind of explore. I'm interested in seeing every little aspect of it. So I want to see, like, there's so much work and so many details that go into everything. So I kind of like drawing my own conclusions too. It's like, is that important? It's probably important. Otherwise, somebody put it in for a reason. And there's so many beautiful details. I remember just even just the water and just how how it flows down. It's just, you can tell that everything's been crafted, or the kind of the stains on the fish here. They almost look like they're like brass that's rusted this color. It's just a really cool features.
I love to jump on that fountain, by the way. Trying to get to that.
Yeah, parkour is a big part of my neighbor Alice. I've definitely I've done some jumping in this game. All right. Well, any closing comments from you guys? I just wanted to thank you guys so much, and all of the community for joining me on my first stream. Everyone's been amazing, and I've just had such a fun time. And thank you guys so much for being here. But yeah, any last comments?
Well, thank you. That was a really fun like play session, and I mean, I hope we can do that like again, because that's definitely like very cool to have you on board and have you like running this. And yeah, no, it was good to go through the features that you can see like some players get a little bit like needs a bit of help with, and I hope that like we could help on that aspect. And yeah, no, thank you.
Thank you, Tassel, and actually now I can officially say it. Welcome to the team.
Thank you guys. Bye now.
Bye, everyone.